Hey everybody, here we are. It's an annual tradition during Gettysburg anniversaries, and it's Gettysburg 161, and therefore we've got to make a stop at the Horse Soldier here in Gettysburg. This is one of several antique shops in here, and these are our good friends who invite us to come by. So let's see what they have. As we go into the Horse Soldier, they have incredible stuff. And unlike a museum, everything here is for sale, so get ready. I remember this guy is from Missouri.
1st Missouri Infantry.
And you have a picture of him wearing this coat. Just incredible. And I don't know how well we'll B-roll this in so you'll be able to see it, but he's got a belt on. I'm seeing that belt right over here. I'm seeing the holster, and I'm seeing just some incredible braiding on his sleeve. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, this is in remarkable shape. I'm impressed really here at the bottom of the Austrian braided, just how white it actually is. It might not be coming off on camera, but it's so clean. The holster and the Confederate belt is just really interesting. The way the CS interlocks with the laurel wreath around it, really, really cool. And of course, we have the provenance of who actually wore this, the picture, everything. It's a really fantastic artifact. But the thing that sticks out to me is, of course, Confederate coat with Federal Eagle buttons.
Major stars.
Really, really cool. So as you go here, you see that they're trying to we have some naval uniform going on here and additional uniforms, but I know there was one down here, Chris. It's somebody that some of y'all might know.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite stories from the wilderness and here at Gettysburg. So this is Zabdiel Boylston Adams, who's a Harvard graduate, and he runs the aid station for the 32nd Massachusetts over on Stony Hill outside of the wheat field. But this is his major's coat as well as his drawers or his underwear here that's even marked with his name and unit.
Jim, are you able to, is that easy to break out there?
I don't know that they're under drawers as much as just canvas trousers.
Canvas trousers?
They're
That's
pocketed and it has the gusset.
Oh, yeah, so you're right.
Where was the...
And on his pocket.
Right.
There you go. I think that's one of the neatest things here is his name, and he also has 32nd Massachusetts Volunteers, so that's really neat. So those are white trousers. That's really cool.
Yeah, well, hold on. Can I put them on during the camera? I'll do it. So, you know, a lot of y'all know that across from the Irish Brigade Monument here at the wheat field at Gettysburg, there is a temporary aid station. This something instituted after late 1862 when Jonathan Letterman said, we want aid stations, field hospitals, and another system to be able to preserve life and separate people into those who could be saved and those not. And there is a marker at this aid station, and it's one of the sort of the hidden gems of Gettysburg. Now, it's probably already coming up as we walk. Let me just say that, you know, when you have your own relic shop or your own museum, you know, you can decide whether you wear gloves or not, how you want your stuff handled. So I just wanted to say that. That is up to the institutions and the repositories as to whether gloves are better or worse for the various materials. There, I said it.
And I just wanted to add in about Adams. We did make a video about the wounding of James Longstreet and James Wadsworth in the wilderness, and he actually tends to a dying James Wadsworth. So check that out from our 160 coverage, more about Adams.
Excellent video.
Now, about these flags, this first one we know was captured, it's documented, it was captured by the 9th New Jersey. Unfortunately, we don't know where. So that's kind of a quirk, but it's still half cool. And then this one is documented from island number 10.
And that's on the Mississippi River, of course. You're talking about some of these early operations that are going to facilitate the ultimate capture of places like Corinth and, of course, Vicksburg as well. I love just walking through the shop because you see more firearms and more photos, hard images in this case. Here's a member of the Stonewall Brigade, all regaled out in, you know, a beautiful, non-reflective you know, image there, and you're just seeing indoor and outdoor views. You don't see a lot of cased images, and you can see which ones are tintype. They're not really, you know, reflecting quite as much. And again, the daguerreotypes, should you see one, are going to be a little bit more reflective, like mirrors almost. They'll disappear from certain angles. But daguerreotypes are a lot less common by the time the Civil War came around because you have these wet plate negatives that serve as ambrotypes in cases. So pretty cool stuff.
And you always notice who's interested in what. Gary goes right for the pictures. I go right for the swords and the guns. That's what I was filming, and he's going for the pictures.
I did it as quick as I could. And, you know, books, epaulets, hard images, and everything around here. We have all sorts of relics and, you know, Native American relics as well.
Not a Gettysburg flag, but worth seeing just by the logo. Is seems like more of a 20th century logo on top than Civil War, but it's 12th Illinois Cavalry flag.
Good, good. And thanks, Sarah, for
I like
manning
your
the mic.
style.
Yeah, and it's an Illinois unit, so maybe you were talking about me there, Jim. I'm not quite sure.
I mean, we saw this probably before. We still have Wells, General Wells coat.
Yeah, last year, I remember checking out William Wells, with that large monument on South Confederate Avenue here at Gettysburg. Oh, and we're going to that one last, I understood.
Okay,
Because you're saving that surprise for me, I think. So one thing while we were just talking about flags is that in the back room, you told me that there's a 4th Texas flag. We took
Yes.
a picture of it.
Company G, 4th Texas, James L. Gould. And he was wounded several times, but was wounded and captured here at Gettysburg on the 2nd. He died in a prison camp in New York. So
But you have
But
the flag now, and I
we
can
have the flag, and you guys have a still. You'll cut in, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful flag, and it was on Little Round Top during the battle. Incredibly. All right, what's this?
Okay, this is typical. People ask us a lot how we get things, and we do the collector shows and all that. But this walked in about 2 or 3 Saturdays ago, and it's a English carbine, Cashler and Terry, not Enfield, but just another maker. But what's interesting about it, it came from an older gentleman, and it was in his family's garage or barn that he remembers as a young child, and the family had been living in Hanover since before the Civil War. And apparently this was picked up by the family, and he brought it in to sell it to us instead of just letting it go in the trash if something happened to him, because there was no family interest in it.
And I think people might be interested in this item. A rebel gun captured at Gettysburg July 4th, the day after the battle. So no doubt.
Whether it was captured or picked up.
Yes, I would
but
say acquired,
It probably
but-
sounded better to the family to be captured.
And your brave ancestor went and got this here.
It's like the
all
guys
right,
getting medals of honor for picking up a flag off the ground.
Now, this is something you told me I'd particularly want to see.
All right,
It's a Gettysburg relation.
This will surprise you. We'll let you open it up, Gary.
Oh my God, okay, here. So it's a manual of arms. That's his U.S. Zouaves Cadet.
Interesting title, too.
Again, he didn't tell me to, okay, so it looks like this is actually somebody I know. That's Lieutenant Lucius Larrabee, Company B, People's Ellsworth Regiment. So that makes sense that this is a Zouave unit. The 44th New York was not outfitted as Zouaves here, but they had descended from another unit, if I'm correct, the 5th New York. Some called them, and another unit, the Butterfield Twins. And this is Company B. The reason I talk about Lucius Larrabee, and I guess the rest of this stuff is his too, is because he was the first officer in the 44th New York killed at Gettysburg. And when I'm out at the Devil's Kitchen, the accounts suggest that he's out there with the skirmish company. It's not just the 20th Maine who throws out a skirmish company. All of the regiments of Vincent's brigade throw out a skirmish company. And he led the skirmish company out toward the Devil's Kitchen. And as soon as they got there, the Confederates arrived, probably 4th Texas as well. Interesting about this flag there. And as soon as he ordered them to go back, it was while executing that order that he was actually shot, I believe, in the chest and killed. It's the story I always tell while we're there. And here it is. Here is his, his manual that he might have had with him that day. I do see some staining, on it there, and a little bit. This looks like water to me. I'm not sure if you guys are going to have it tested or anything like that. This doesn't look like blood, which is probably a good thing, but he may have had it with him that day, depending on which pouch or pocket it was in. Now, you told me you had his biography, but I also see that this actually looks like a letter from him, December of 1862. So he was wounded before this at 2nd Manassas, and here's Lucius Larrabee actually writing to his dear sister. And without going through the whole thing, it looks like, soldiers are writing about what soldiers write about today. What's happening in the unit, what you miss. There it is, your affectionate brother, Lute. So we've just learned something new about Lucius Larrabee. His nickname is Lute, something I definitely didn't know before. Incredible piece, and I guess this is some of his eyewear right here too. Not in perfect shape, but we are glad to have it with apparently some of the early, maybe even original cases. I don't know enough about that. Chris, anything to add?
I was saying to Jim before we started here that I definitely wouldn't want to wear these because there's no earpieces over top of them. These go right on your nose and will pinch your nose like and they sit down your nose a little bit farther. So they're probably uncomfortable. They're not worn all the time by guys. This almost looks like it was supposed to be a monocle, but it wasn't. There should have been another lens here
Yes.
over on the right-hand side. Again, would pinch onto your nose. So interesting to see here. You don't always see these guys with their glasses on, especially in pictures that we saw in the last room. But I think that it's important that Garry pointed out that, you know, the 83rd PA, 44th New York, 16th Michigan, 20th Maine all had different skirmishers out on the line, and this guy's killed in an area that Garry knows very, very well.
Interesting, this is specific to his letter, but it's something we see regularly, that he wrote a letter and signed it, dated December 7th, but frequently the soldiers didn't get their letters done in time for the mail going out. So he continued on the back with, starting with 8th, and just added another note for the next day, and here he says he's out on picket duty. And so that's something you see in letters, common, that the letters went on for days and days until they could get them out in the mail.
He certainly could have figured, you know, you're a soldier, you're seeing battle, you're in the Army of the Potomac. Certainly he was no stranger to combat, and he could have known that he might breathe his last before long, but he couldn't have known when he wrote this that it would be on an unnamed rocky hill in Pennsylvania 7 months, almost to the day, or close to 7 months later, that he would actually breathe his last. Maybe that's 8 months, excuse my math there. Now, I think what we're going to do is leave it here, unless you have something to add, Sarah or Chris. Let's leave this here. I'm going to immediately get to work on Jim and the others at the Horse Soldier to see if they'll let us take some of this out to the field, assuming that they don't let us. Let me say thank you for watching. Thanks to Chris. Thanks to Sarah. Thanks to Jim and the Horse Soldier for allowing us incredible access here. Well, here it is, a little addendum, because the Horse Soldier did allow us, under close security procedures, to come out here actually to the Devil's Kitchen where we now stand with the manual of arms of Lucius Larrabee. And I haven't opened it yet since we've been here, but I don't know exactly how to feel being out here. I don't know that he had it on him when he was here, but this is his book, and somehow this is testament, at least to me, to his demise. Here he was, he entered this battle, certainly not knowing that morning that he would be this first officer in the 44th New York to be killed. And I estimate right around this spot here. We're at the top of the Devil's Kitchen. He's in command of this skirmish company. This seems like a spot. I don't know this. I don't know exactly where he was, but they deployed here and just deployed when the Confederates, probably the 4th Texas, coming from that direction with the 48th Alabama on their left, fighting closer to Devil's Den. These Texans en route to their destiny at Little Round Top ran into and shot Captain Larrabee right as they were executing their withdrawal, as the other units of Vincent's brigade did as well. So there's this thing sometimes missing when we come out to the place. We've got the place, we've got the accounts, but you've heard us say it before, then there's the stuff. And when stuff is identified and personal, something that whether or not he carried here brings us closer to Lucius Larrabee, somebody I've been talking about for at least 15 years on the tours, and here it is, his writing, I presume. It really brings it home. I believe he was 26 years old when he was killed here at Gettysburg, having survived another wound at 2nd Manassas before that. So I really want to thank the folks at the Horse Soldier for letting us bring out this special object and showing us the other things that belong to Lucius Larrabee. Thank you for watching.